Malala, it's great to speak to you once again about your new memoir, Finding My Way.
Thank you.
I'm actually going to start at the end, if that's okay, because I thought it was quite interesting as you were leaving university. You spoke about the reason why you had chosen to go to that particular college at Oxford, which is Lady Margaret Hall. And a lot of people had assumed that it was to do with famous alumni like Benazir Bhutto, but you say that it was actually something completely different. The flowers reminding you of Swat Valley and the River Cherwell reminding you of other parts of your homeland. And I thought that was really interesting, that that was the thing that had attracted you. Could you tell me a little bit more about what it was, why that was important to you, I suppose, in choosing where to go to university?
A sense of belonging is an important topic of this book. And I was displaced out of my country at age 15. It's the circumstances that brought me to a completely new place, Birmingham, for my medical treatment. And then life continued somehow. And I was looking for ways to reconnect with home. Things never felt the same. I always felt closer to home when I would be by a river, when I would see the mountains. And as soon as I stepped into Lady Margaret Hall at Oxford, and I was walking past the wildflowers and walking through the gardens and watching the river flow, I immediately knew that this was the right place for me. I felt closer to home. I know it might sound weird, but somehow water was connecting me to my childhood. In Swat Valley, in my parents' village, Shangla, we have rivers everywhere. And I would just have all of those memories back, having mangoes by the river with my family, sharing food, and somehow that was the bridge between my old life and this new life that I was living. Even though Oxford was a completely new place and I was still figuring out who I was, but the rivers and nature became a connection to my old self for me.
This book in many ways is a book about your time at university, and it's a really important time for you in many, many ways. The first thing I actually want to talk to you about is clothing. Not an area of expertise for me, but it's a really important thing that runs through the book. And there's a fabulous bit at the beginning where basically your mother is putting clothing in your cases to go to university, and it's traditional shalwar kameez, and you
like this
like this
like this
but you are very conscious of the fact that you want to take your own clothing that will allow you to blend in with people at university. Why was it so important for you to sort of smuggle in jeans and sweatshirts and things like that?
College was going to be that journey towards freedom for me, and I did not want to miss it. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be among the students and not feel that I was still this symbol. I was still the Malala that people see in media. And whenever I used to wear my Pakistani clothes, as you can see right now, they're bright, they're flashy, I stand out. And I knew that that's not what other students wear. Other students just wear jeans and jumpers, and they have sweatshirts, and it's just very casual look. And I simply wanted that. I just wanted to feel like them. It was important to me because when I joined university, I wanted to make friends. I did not have many friends in school. I had only made one best friend. And at university, all I was praying for was that I meet as many incredible people as I can and become friends with them, because what's amazing about friends is that you can be yourself with them. They do not see you as an activist, as a role model. They do not see you as an inspiration. To them, you are just a friend. They're going to judge you. They're going to not judge you when you talk about difficult topics. They're there for you. They can listen to anything that you say. And I felt I was being myself with them. I became their therapist. I loved giving relationship advice. I loved sharing food with them. I loved complaining to them about work. And I felt like that was such a safe place for me. I had never felt so safe before among people, and I'm friends with them now for life.
The clothes that you did manage to smuggle into your case to university did have an effect quite quickly, which was that you, in your enthusiasm, joined a lot of clubs, including rowing.
Rowing, yes.
And you got photographed in a pair of jeans and sort of casual clothing for the rowing that you were doing, and it caused a real furore, didn't it, for you back home? Could you explain a little bit about why culturally that was so significant, that sort of image of you in that clothing, and I suppose what it is that you're sort of pushing against?
Yeah, I think this is contextual, and in every culture we have different dress codes, and even in Pakistan it's different from north to south, it's different from a village to a city. So in some cities, yes, people wear jeans, but the part that I came from, girls did not wear jeans, they did not wear shorts, they did not wear bomber jackets. So when I joined uni, I wanted to figure out a way in which I could blend in, but at the same time keep my tradition and my culture with me. So I was just wearing a pair of tight skinny jeans, a bomber jacket, and I had my headscarf on. And to me, that was just my new style that was going to be evolving with time. When that photo came out, I was so shocked by the response. Not because I was surprised that people reacted to my clothing or that this was never going to happen. I knew something was going to happen. People were either going to take like photos of me, like hanging out with friends or at a club or something. So I was very careful. I did not want to do any of those things because I was like, I'm here to have a normal life and not cause too much trouble. But then in the end, even after trying so hard not to cause trouble, that jeans photo just went viral, and it caused this debate among people. Some were saying that I had crossed the line and I was wearing something that was not Islamic enough, not Pakistani enough, and that somehow I had brought shame to the country and I had sort of like sold myself. I don't know, like these were the comments I was seeing. On the other hand, people were criticizing me for still wearing my hijab and covering my hair, and they thought that somehow I was still oppressed and that was not a sign of freedom. In the middle of all of this was me, a college student who just wanted to live a normal life. So I remember my mom and dad were really worried, and they had received so many calls from their relatives asking about my jeans. My mom was really mad at me, but I told them that I'm not here for some pilgrimage. I'm here to study and to have fun and to mix with many students and just to have a normal life. So I'm not going to defend myself. I'm not going to issue any statement. I will continue to wear my jeans for as long as I want. And that's how I continued. I think we can never, it's never about like what people think, but what we feel comfortable in. And the best way to respond is to carry on and wear what you want.
You've already mentioned, I suppose, the key things that were important to you at university was you had been forced to grow up very quickly, obviously, because of what had happened to you and what brought you to the UK. And what you wanted to do, I suppose, at university was to go back to that ability to make friends and to do everything that friends do. You throw yourself into activities, you are going out with friends, you are doing things that you've never done before. What you say a beautiful thing actually about friendship, which is that it is the one type of love that is available to all of us at any point in our lives, which I think is a brilliant description of what friendship means. But can you tell me, I suppose, what did those friendships give you that really helped you to find yourself in those years at university?
Friendship was everything to me in college. I cannot imagine my college life without the friends. I was actually skipping my assignments. I was always doing my essays last minute. I had really struggled with my academic life, partly because I wanted to be at every event where my friends were. I did not want to miss a single occasion. I was having a proper FOMO. There's a South Asian biryani event, I will be there. There's the Eid celebration, I will be there. There's rowing, there's punting. We just want to sit in the gardens and have a picnic. We want to do the 80s aerobics sort of theme party. Let's do that. Let's hang out in the college bar. Let's talk about who's dating who and who has broken up with whom and what's love life update. I wanted to stay up till 3 a.m. and just talk to my friends forever. I made incredible Pakistani friends, and we would always dance to Pakistani music and just chat forever. And I had somehow felt closer to Pakistan through that. So in college, I felt so liberated in some ways through these friends. And I needed that, and I felt so secure and safe around them. Of course, I had fun time, but I think I changed as a person because I felt like I had put that part of myself behind me. At age 15, when you become an activist, and somehow you are following this headline that you are seeing in the newspaper, on TV about you, that's supposed to be your identity. And I had no idea, how do you live your life when you win the Nobel Peace Prize at 17? How are you supposed to act? Do you become some sort of a pious figure or like a nun? and there were things in which I felt like, yeah, maybe I have to act like a nun.
Yeah.
Don't think about love, don't think about having fun, don't think about making friends. Your life is all about work. But I knew that if I stay like that, not really being myself, and actually not really having that happiness that I deserve, I actually can't even serve my mission in the best way. You have to be yourself to do good in your work and to live the life that you deserve.
You mentioned that happiness. There's also unhappiness as well, I suppose. With you expose yourself to all of those things that people do at university, relationships, looking for love, being ghosted. You're really honest about all of those aspects, and I'll come to love a little bit later. But you're also incredibly honest about mental health through the course of your time there. And whilst throwing yourself into all those activities, you did suffer a real kind of, I suppose, a shock to your system with these flashbacks to what had happened back in Pakistan. And you are really, you don't hide anything in terms of the impact that had on you. What was, you share a few things that were important, I suppose, in getting over that or dealing with it. One was professional help that you were able to receive in terms of sort of therapy and talking about it. But I also got the sense that your friendships and those bonds that you'd made were also really important in helping you to navigate that. Would that be fair?
I think you said it rightly. I had an amazing time at college, and when I reflect on it, I see it in a positive way. There were difficult parts as well. Many breakdowns, many moments of tears, essay crisis, and mental health.
Yeah.
I had many panic attacks, and it happened so suddenly and so unexpectedly that it just changed the trajectory of my journey. I knew how I could not make it disappear the next day. I had this incident where friends were trying, bong, and I had never come across it. And it's just very common. Kids smoke in colleges, and for me, it was just like one intake, and suddenly everything changed for me. That I felt like I was reliving the attack. I felt I could see the gunmen. Even though I don't remember the incident, in that moment it felt like I had lost my life again, and I was trying to wake up. This was a life-changing moment because I realized that things that have happened to you many, many years ago can come back and affect you. It can affect you physically, it can affect you mentally as well. And initially I was struggling so much. I could not find a way. I could not eat properly. I became anemic. I was struggling even more with my essays. I could not even then have fun with my friends. That was the most challenging part. And I'm so glad that I had those incredible friends around me who guided me, who helped me, who were there for me. A simple thing as a sleepover helped me sleep through the night.
Yeah.
That was everything. And that one conversation with a friend who told me about a therapist changed the whole game, because I suddenly realized that I will not be trapped in this forever. I did not know how I would get out of it, and I wanted to. I was like, I'm going to see this therapist and she will tell me the magic code, like there is something, there is this magic spell and she'll fix me in one meeting. I realized, no, that's not how it works. It takes time. You talk through it, you think through it, you process it, you understand how these things work. You have to separate your thinking from your actions, from your feelings and emotions. and there is still so much that you're not prepared for. You don't know what happens next. But now, like when I think back, I feel a lot safer. I feel safer because I know if something happens in the future, I will be asking for help. Asking for help is the most important thing. Talk to your friends and ask for help from an expert.
One other very important relationship in the book is your burgeoning love for Asa, who of course is now your husband.
Yes.
And it's not just, I suppose, sort of a standard love story, because what
Can we say he was not my first love?
No, he was not your first love. No,
that's for the readers to find out. You know, who was my first love? He was not my first love.
But what's amazing is that you're not just sort of, I suppose, navigating that relationship, but also you're really interrogating the whole idea of marriage, because it's something that you're feeling pressure about because of the various families' involvement, and your real objection to the idea of being married. You are now married, and so I suppose the simple question is, what was the nature of the resistance for you initially, and I suppose what changed, that means that we now have that incredible ring on your finger?
Yeah, now that I explain it to people, I do sound like I'm being a psycho, but I do not regret it for a second, that I was questioning marriage, that I was overthinking it, and I wanted to like read about it, talk to people about it. I wanted to ask myself about it again and again, and I wanted to talk to Asar about it. He was like the most important guy in this. I was questioning marriage because I had grown up seeing girls married off forcefully. I had seen child marriage happen in our community. We know how many girls lose their future because they're married off. At the same time, I knew that this is not just an issue that is related to the developing world. Women, even in the most developed countries, make compromises when they're married off. And you know, like women are supposed to sacrifice a lot more, from their income, their career, to so many things. Like what are they expected to do in terms of like the chores in the house. It goes on, and somehow I was scared because I thought I was going to lose something. Then I would remind myself like, no, you know about your rights and you are an advocate for it. Come on. You can advocate against it. Like, why are you just so scared of marriage? You have stood up to the Taliban. Why are you just so scared of, like, you know, suddenly getting married? And for me, it was about how it would affect my work, my activism, my career. In the end, it was this decision around, it's actually this mutual understanding between the two partners. That's the most important thing. And the more I talked to Asar, the more time we spent together, I knew he was the right one. And I also realized that the questions I had hidden in my head, the questions I wanted to ask him, he was sort of answering all of those through his actions, through like who he was, his character. And I had thrown some silly questions at him, and he took them seriously. So that's how I knew he was the right person for me. Then in the end we got married, which still like does not mean that I am now advocating for marriage.
No.
I think it's a person's choice. We should keep advocating for women's safety and protection and equality, and we should be questioning these institutions and ensure that you know, in the end, whatever a woman wants for herself, that's what her life should be.
You've hinted a little bit about the education experience for you at university, in that there were times when we could say you were not the best student. You were doing your essays quite late, if you did them at all. You were not there quite a lot because you were doing your appearances and speeches and all that sort of stuff, to the point where your tutor was saying you cannot travel anymore, and you told them, well, I'm actually going to Monaco tomorrow and I've got this you know. You do knuckle down, and there's this great moment, of course, is you're approaching the end, and after having navigated everything that we've been talking about, plus COVID and lockdown and all that sort of stuff, you do graduate, and it's an incredibly proud moment for you. But at the same time, running along this whole timeline, there is another project going on, which is that you have created a school in Shangla, which the first students from that school are approaching the moment of their own graduation, which is an amazing journey for them to have been going on at the same time as you've been going on with your journey. And I wondered which of those two things you were proudest of.
That's a difficult question. I'm proud of both, and I'll explain why.
Yeah.
Completing my own degree at Oxford was not just me proving my intelligence. For me, it was a personal victory against the Taliban, who once stopped me from learning. I know it was not an open battle, but inside me, in my heart, I felt like I was still fighting that same old fight. I remember when they had banned girls' education in my hometown, and in my life, I wanted nothing more than making that dream that I had as a child at the time come true, which was to be able to complete my university. Then at the same time, this school that we started in Shangla for girls is so important because it's the first high school that we brought into the village. These are going to be the first generation of girls who will be completing their school. So I was so excited about it because I knew the future of that village was going to change. And in the end, I visited that school. This was like my dream come true. I went there after 13 years. I saw my old village again, the river, the mountains, and it felt surreal that everything sort of remained the same. Some things were different, but the school was something new. And to see so many girls in their uniform, debating, talking, playing sports, and telling me how they are so happy that they have a school counselor, a therapist, and they sometimes go into the forest and dance and scream so that they can let their emotions come out. I love that these girls are thriving. So it's connected. It's all about a girl making her dreams come true, a girl completing her education. And that girl was me once, 11 years old, banned from education by the Taliban, finally completing her university. And it's all of those girls in Shangla who want to have a future, who want to be able to study and fulfill their dreams. I'm proud of both.
And does that also play into, there's a great phrase that you use, which is that if people create culture, then that means that they can also change it. Yeah. And we've sort of touched on some of the cultural restrictions that you have faced and pushed against, and the things that you're trying to change. Obviously that's a journey, but do you feel like it's that you are making progress in that journey and that you can see hope for the future?
I do believe that culture is made by people and people can change it too, and people should change it so that it ensures the inclusion of everybody. And it does not take away the rights and the liberty of anyone. And let's talk about women, because women and girls have been affected by this. In the name of culture, they have faced restrictions, limitations. They have been stopped from having careers, or even just the right to be outside in public. In some places like Afghanistan, like the Taliban have restricted women to the four walls of their house, and they are stopping them from work and education. For me, the culture that we have is, especially like the part where I'm from, is defined by men or their mentality, or basically patriarchy. When we empower women and girls through education, through opportunities, we bring them into the formation of culture. So I do think that it could be, a gradual but a very powerful transformation that we will see. I hope that more and more women get the opportunity to be actively engaging in creating culture in many, in all aspects. It matters, if women are becoming directors and writers and presenters, and when you sort of see them in all of these roles, and it changes perspective. Like seeing women in sports, it's changing perspective. Seeing women in science and technology, it's changing perspectives, and it's setting new norms. It's setting a new culture. But it's that big topic that I wish I could find a solution to. But for me personally, I don't think I'll win every fight in culture. I don't think so. Some things I have just accepted, some things I don't just even think of, but I'm like, yeah, that's how I grew up, that's how things were. But some things, yes, I have fought for. I think there are only so many battles we can take. So I do remind myself that just remember how much you can take. You can't take it all. There are other girls and incredible young women who will be making the world even better than we left it. So that's my hope.
Malala, it's always a pleasure to speak with you. This book is filled with a lot of very honest sharing, but I also really appreciate the generosity of your answers to my questions today. So thank you so much.
Thank you. So wonderful talking to you.